If you're visiting Austin, it can be pretty confusing to figure out which lake is the best for paddleboarding, partying, and is the closest to downtown. Luckily, Captain Todd is going to explain the 3 different lakes in Austin to you. Let's start with the big picture, the Colorado River. To make things even more confusing, all 3 lakes around Austin, Lady Bird Lake, Lake Austin, and Lake Travis, are all part of the Colorado River, and they're separated by dams. If you're staying downtown, the lake closest to you will be Lady Bird Lake. This is the lake where you see all the paddleboarders with the skyline in the background. Also, Lady Bird Lake is connected to Barton Springs, which is the crown jewel of Austin. If you want to paddleboard, Lady Bird Lake is a great spot. But there are no gas-powered boats allowed on Lady Bird Lake, only small electric boats. Lady Bird Lake is really all about kayaking and paddleboarding. My favorite spot to launch my paddleboard into Lady Bird Lake is the Austin High School boat ramp. If you go on the weekend, you'll find that there's plenty of parking on the street and in the high school's parking lot. If you don't own your own paddleboard, I recommend you go to one of the great rental shops that are all up and down Lady Bird Lake. If you want that famous Austin paddleboard party experience, I really recommend you go here, where Lady Bird Lake meets Barton Creek. The same Barton Creek that's connected to Barton Springs, the crown jewel of Austin. Well, that beautiful spring water flows down and meets the lake right in this spot. So the water is just crystal clear and super fresh, and it happens to be a little bit more shallow. So everybody sets up here to party. And on the weekends, a lot of times people will bring out a barge and put a DJ booth on it, or I've even seen bands set up on land and play sets out to everyone. I rate this spot a 10 out of 10, and I'd recommend it to anyone visiting Austin who wants to experience partying on Lady Bird Lake. The other place to party if you don't have a paddleboard is Barking Springs. It's directly next to Barton Springs, but it's over the fence, so there's no rules allowed. This place can get wild, and you can bring your dogs, so be warned. If you want to party on a boat, you have 2 options, Lake Austin and Lake Travis. Lake Austin is the closest to downtown, and you can gaze at beautiful nature and enormous mansions. Lake Austin is kind of like the Malibu of Central Texas. The only legal spot for boat charters to pick people up on Lake Austin is the 360 boat ramp under Pennybacker Bridge. It's about 15-20 minutes from downtown, depending on where you're coming from. If you're getting picked up here, you're gonna need to bring $5 cash because the city runs the boat ramp and only accepts cash because apparently it's still 1984. There's almost no parking by the boat ramp, so I really recommend you take a rideshare, or if you have a large party, I recommend you book a shuttle from Fetty, and you can use my code Captain Leisure and you'll get 25% off your ride. I love Lake Austin because it's so close to downtown and the water is crystal clear and cold. On to Lake Travis. The biggest advantage of Lake Travis is that it's a lot bigger and wider than Lake Austin, so you can have much bigger boats on it. And if you're like me and live out in the sticks, then it's closer. If you're coming from downtown, it's gonna take you about 45 minutes to get out to Lake Travis. There's definitely a big vibe difference between Lake Travis and Lake Austin. Lake Austin is definitely more bougie. I mean, you're in the city surrounded by multi-million-dollar mansions. And Lake Travis is way more unregulated Texas frat party, especially in Devil's Cove. This is a famous meetup spot in Lake Travis where people have been partying for decades. Honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with a rental on Lake Travis or Lake Austin. But if you want to get on the water quick from downtown, go Lake Austin. If you want to rent a giant boat and go to Devil's Cove, go Lake Travis. I think both lakes are equally great. That's why Longhorn Leisure is planning to expand to Lake Travis soon. If you want to learn more fun things to do in Austin, like and subscribe. Or if you want me to show you around the lake, book a cruise on longhornleisure.com.